Hello and welcome to Qsports. I am Mamadou Gajaga. Thank you very much for joining us. On tonight's show, people in Kiang are rejoicing over the stadium to be built in Kiang Manduar village. We attended the laying of the foundation stone over the weekend and the details will follow shortly in the show. Coach Ahmad Cham will be my guest on tonight's show to talk about sports infrastructure, but we are going to be a little biased because the focus is going to be on football. Also, a near miss for Gambian defender Omar Colley when his side, Sampdoria, played against Inter Milan. His header came off the post. He was almost there, but unfortunately didn't score. But Inter ended up winning the match by 2-1. All that on tonight's Qsports. Welcome and thank you very much if you're just joining us. This is Qsports and I am Mamadou Gajaga. First, we're going to talk about sports infrastructure, the importance of it. The foundation stone of a 10,000 capacity seated stadium is being laid over the weekend in Kiang Manduar village in the west of the Lower River region. That is Kiang West in the Lower River region. And the stadium is expected to be constructed within 24 weeks, that is in 6 months, and the cost is around $8 million. And it's been funded by the government of the Gambia through the Ministry of Youth and Sports. And first, let's hear from the Minister of Sports, that is Hadrame Sidibe, who said the government is committed to reshaping the sports infrastructure of the country.
As we are gathered here to lay the first foundation stone of the first ever mini stadium in Kiang. In February 2020, my humble self and senior members of staff under my purview embarked on a nationwide tour. During the period, the youth of Julafa in the Kiang West district invited my delegation to extend our visit to their recreation land facility measuring 300 by 300 square, allocated to them by the community of Kiang Manduar for use as football field among others. This is in line with government decentralization policy and to ensure that young people in rural Gambia access modern sporting facilities to improve their participation both locally and internationally sporting competitions. Today, I am pleased to preside over the official laying of the foundation stone, phase 1 of the mini stadium to be built by my ministry in Manduar village, Kiang West district, Lower River region. As the main government department entrusted with the principal responsibility of championing for the holistic development of youth and sports sectors of this country, my ministry initiated to bring this project to the rural youth of the Gambia. It is very pleasing when initiatives such as this is developed and promoted throughout the country for the welfare of young boys and girls, and therefore ensure equal participation in the development and identification of talents. This is an indisputable indication of how far we have progressed as a nation.
That was Minister Hadrame Sidibe, the Minister of Youth and Sports there. And the President of the Gambia Football Federation, Lamin Kaba Bajo, says it has eased the burden on the Football Federation as they are the custodians of football development and management of the country.
Sembo Dawda and Fanasa Fenmel Lafano to Lakada Kugam, Gambia Football Federation for the Parano. Honorable Minister, I'm also pledged to really accompany you in this project financially and technically. Wherever you need, there's a shortfall anywhere. The Gambia Football Federation also will chip in to fill that gap.
The Gambia under-23 coach Omar Cisse, who of course is from Kiang, from Keneba, and Keneba is not far away from Kiang Manduar, is elated, and he says this has always been his dream to get such a facility for his people. And let's hear from him.
Among everybody, I've said it many, many times. This was a dream that if I could have my own money to do it, I would love to. And thank God today I didn't, but we were fortunate that the ministry is able to provide it for us through the good job of our executive and the entire community of Kiang. I wouldn't call it as Kiang Julafar. For me, it is Kiang West. So I'm the happiest.
When it comes to improving football, obviously the first thing that you think of is infrastructure, and the infrastructure is coming here. Do you think this will be able to help nurture talent and develop them for the future?
Definitely yes, because we have seen the example in Jaro, what it has already done. Kiangwe's team has come up with a very good footballing to qualify it in the second division and also in the Super Naweta. So I'm pretty much sure that if this facility come into place as we are dreaming, we're going to produce a lot of talent here. And the way this organization started, the committee, if they continue, we're going to see a lot of young talents from this region, inshallah.
Former Gambia midfielder and captain Ibu Silla was in attendance, and he also said the coming of this stadium would really help the development of football, particularly in that part of the country, making sure that kids who have the potential have the opportunity to showcase their potential. Let's hear from Ibu Silla.
Football is all over. So Kiang is a big, I don't know whether it's a village or village. Yeah, and people they love football here. So I think that's good for Gambian football. It's not only Bakau and Banjul. From Basse to Koina, all is in Gambia. There are a lot of talents, but we never see them. But now is the time now. So we are very happy for to have this thing. It's for all of us. It's not only for Keneba, it's for all of us. So that's very good for Gambian football.
A young player from the village, Aliu Sar, who has also been playing for the Kiang Manduar village team, also expressed delight about the project. He says this will avail them the opportunity to be at par with those playing in the combos, because once they have the facility, they can also showcase their talents.
Akadanya seo kubari anin kontan kuba because na jam filo nak amam betia so akad nalan kata makata dula jangol to kata tiren keje kamuran sado kono jang o fon asem fatigue no la wallahi sama injury fan so ngo feel badly nak so biringa nyamoy akadanya kontan kubari be ministry tandula anin Gambian government ila wonderful job ye menkata.
Joining me in the studio is Coach Ahmad Cham. New project in Kiang Manduar. We're going to see a 10,000 capacity stadium. If you like, you can call it a mini stadium. If you like, you can call it a park. But as we know, the foundation stone has been laid on Saturday. We were there, and we will bring you all the details of that. But Ahmad Cham, when it comes to sports infrastructure in the Gambia, it's at the lowest level. Even the ones that we have are very much at a crumbling stage. Getting this facility in the interior of the country, how important is it for football?
Thank you very much for having me. It is very important to have infrastructure, and to have infrastructure, even it's more important having it in the land, because most of the infrastructure we have in the urban area. That is most of them are from Banjul to Berkama. And you have one at Jara Soma, which is very good. And you will see that since the inception of that mini stadium in Jara Soma, you will see that there are 3 teams coming from Kiang, from Jara, and Farafenye, which are very close to this playing ground. So that means football is expanding in that area because of that particular infrastructure. Now having another infrastructure in Kiang would just help the people of Kiang who already have a team in the second division, where they can play home. The communities in Kiang would come in Kiang and watch their sons play football, and even their daughters play football. So infrastructure is key in football. If you want to see good football played, you must have a good pitch.
You played football, you're a coach. You played on a sandy pitch, you've tested both. You played on an artificial turf, if you like. You also played on a grass pitch. Let's say this field is going to be an artificial turf. The difference when you have a team that is usually used to playing on a sandy pitch, getting them onto an artificial pitch. The advantage and the disadvantage of it when you have two teams. The other one plays on a sandy pitch and the other one on a grass pitch or on an artificial turf.
It's difficult to play football on a sandy pitch, extremely difficult. And if you're in a position to keep the conditions of playing on that type of pitch, and you have the opportunity to train and play on a very smooth pitch, let's say an artificial turf, which is most of the time a fast pitch. When we say it's fast, that means the movement of the ball is very fast on the pitch. So it's different from playing on the sandy pitch, where sometimes it's difficult to control the ball, it's difficult to make one-touch passes because of the sand. But when you go and play on an artificial turf, it's totally different. It's totally different when you play on grass too, because yes, the ball is faster on the artificial turf than even on grass. But that is why you see in the West, most of the games before they are played, you will see the sprinklers come out to water the field just to make it slippery, so that when you knock the ball, it goes as fast as possible. So that teams that like to play the possession game, they want to keep the ball, want to make a lot of good passes, those teams will enjoy playing on that type of pitches. But it's very difficult. If you see a player play on sand, and you see the same player train and get used to the artificial turf and play on the artificial turf, you will see the level of doing things on the artificial turf is always faster than on sand.
Now, we talk about the other part of the country, that is, if you like, in the hinterland, if you like, we call it the province. That's in Kiang Manduar, is in the Kiang West, and as well in the lower river region. Already, we've talked about the facility in Jarasoma, which, of course, now 3 teams, I think 2 in the second division, competing there. Because of that advantage of the facility, now with another facility, do you think now the other part of the country also is having that opportunity to showcase its talent, comparing it to the, when we talk about the greater Banjul area, because everything is centered around here?
That is why when you look at it, when we select players to our national teams, most of the players are from the greater Banjul area, because that is where you have the facilities. That is where most of the players are residing. Kiang West have a football team, before you Kiang, is from Kiang. Now they have a football team, but most of those players are living in the combos. Most of those players are training here. They only go to play in Jara when they have.
And that is because of the lack of facility in
so
there.
now if they have the facility in Kiang, all those players can go back and train in Kiang, play in Kiang, and go out of Kiang and play their away games. Now they have the facility in Kiang. When this pitch is ready, the mini stadium is ready, which is going to be probably a standard one like most of the mini stadiums we have in the Gambia, you'll see the difference. So it's clear that the better the pitch, the better the football. Even when you watch football divisional matches played on our local grounds, and you watch the same teams play at the Independence Stadium, you will clearly see the difference in the game, the way the football is played. It's totally different. So the better the pitch, the better the game.
Now, getting the infrastructure is one thing. How about the coaches who would train these players at that level to nurture them, to make sure that they catch up with the players that are within the Greater Banjul area?
Yeah, now you will see that would take the game to another level, because very soon, according to the calendar of the Gambia Football Federation, they are going into a professional league. It's no more Omar is from Kiang, Omar have to be our coach. Because if you have to go into a professional league, there are conditions that are laid by the professional body that is going to run. Say, you need X, you need these things to be in the professional league. So if you want to be there, you must fulfill those conditions. And I know one of those conditions will be you must have a qualified coach to train your players. And not only have a qualified coach, you must have a field that is registered to be yours. So these are things that would take the game to another level. And that level, yes, because we have the pitch. Now you have the pitch, the training methods. Coaches also need to get ready to look for more information in this game that we love. If you really love football, you don't just have to sit and wait. The internet is everywhere. You can go and research training programs and try to implement them, read them, because all these training programs are clearly explained. So you can look at them and be in a position to implement them. Right?
In terms of getting the infrastructure in this particular location, is it also an advantage for the Gambia when they have international matches? That is, if it meets the requirement of the Confederation of African Football to play, I'm not talking about the national team, which is going to be a tough one, but maybe on the 20, on the 23 level, you can switch some of your matches, apart from playing them at the stadium, take them to Kiang mini stadium.
Even club football, you can take probably, if a team comes from Algeria to play a Gambian team, the Gambian team can say, okay, we are going to play in Kiang Manduar. And you take them to Kiang Manduar, that is to your advantage.
But of course, you would need a hotel in Kiang Manduar.
Yeah, okay, that's another
Or you would have to travel
from here
2
to
hours
the game.
at least.
So, and when I think in one of the regulations also is, there is a distance that if you have to cover it with a team, they have to fly. They must not drive to the playground. So these are things you will also have to look at. So infrastructure, this is a starting point. And I am very happy that the government is taking lead in this one. It is the Ministry of Youth and Sports who is taking the lead. That is a part of the Gambia government, to make sure that they have a stadium, a proper stadium in Kiang that is going to help develop. Because if you have it, you will even see the president of the Gambia Football Federation is saying that at least a burden of building another field is taken off them. So that means now if we have all these types of stadiums in all the regions, what will happen? Very soon you will have the National League played from Banjul to Basse. If you have stadiums in all regions, you will have 7 in all the regions, and every club, every area would want to have a team, because there is a proper infrastructure. And if you have that, that means you have more options to select from. And that inferiority complex between the players. You come from Basse, you play on sand, you do, and you are just selected to play against a player from Banjul who plays on an artificial turf almost every day, trains there every day. You will struggle even to meet up the standards during training, because instead of training, you look at the player. You have never met the player. This is the first time you're meeting. These are all things that will affect players who are coming from the rural area coming to play here. But if you play week in, week out, you meet these players. If you are selected in any team, you know that I have played against this player and he had it tough or I had it tough. So you know each other, you'll make friends.
In terms of getting the facility and maintaining it, we've seen the different football fields that we have in the Gambia, especially in the Greater Banjul. Brikama is dilapidated now. The playing surface, artificial turf, now is almost virtually unplayable. Okay? You can still play football there, but it's not up to standard. Banjul KG5-ish also at a very lowest level. The Independence Stadium grass pitch, for the most part, is not in good shape, except if the Gambia is going to play an international game and they know they have to meet the requirements of the Confederation of African Football to be able to host home matches. That is the time they take good care of it to meet the standard. But that aside, Manjai is one of the worst. Getting this facility is one thing, but maintaining it, it's very expensive.
Yeah, my take on these facilities and maintaining them is, I believe the municipalities, if KMC comes up and look, they are not giving the market to the vendors to manage it. They have a market manager who manage the market, and the vendors he gives them the time, he decides what happened on the market. So if all these fields have managers whose responsibility is to take care of those fields, that is where your bread money is coming from, you are taking care of your family, you will take care of the field. And all these committees will have an office in each of those parks. But anytime they want to use the field, they have to contact the manager, because it's the responsibility of the manager to make sure that the field or the infrastructure is at the standard that it should be. But if you leave it to
and should there be also funding from the government, whether we call it maintenance fee or sort of a maintenance budget to be able to maintain the facilities at the field?
Yeah, I'm just giving an example. If KMC takes over all the peaks, all the fields in Serekunda, in KMC, Serekunda West, Serekunda East, Manjai, Bakau, take over all these fields and have a manager who takes care of the fields, all the fields. You have a general manager, and in each of these fields you have a manager who takes care. And this manager reports to the general manager, and that man would know that, or that man or that woman would know that, look, it is my responsibility to make sure that this place is there. It's in the highest standard, that anybody want to use it would use it without problem. And you have your program. I have once witnessed, I was at the Independence Stadium, you see, people come to book for the place because there is a manager. Nobody just come and say it is under the Gambia Football Federation or it's under track and field. It is a government institution, and the government have employed somebody to take charge. So these mini stadiums are infrastructures that belong to the municipality. So the municipality should take charge by having managers running these fields and not the committees. That is my take on that.
Most teams in the Greater Banjul are comfortable playing their matches within the Greater Banjul. How about having this infrastructure ready in Kiang and then getting Real de Banjul play Brikama United all the way in Kiang? At least it will take them to the other part of the country, and also too, in terms of weather, it will prepare them in case they found themselves in a situation in the CAF Champions League somewhere in Liberia or in Senegal or any of these countries where they are likely to be pitted against some clubs when there are qualifiers or maybe the CAF Champions League matches.
Yeah, but I think that might be difficult to say Brikama United play Real, because in Kiang, maybe in a sort of a jamboree, but if it is a league game, Brikama plays in Brikama, Real plays in Banjul. So if they meet, if it is a home game for Real, you expect them to play in Banjul. If it is a home game for Brikama, you expect them to play in. But at the same time, that stadium will be useful. There is a second division team from Kiang. And that will give the opportunity to all second division teams in the Gambia to go and play in Kiang. And the team from Kiang will also come and play in the Com. So that's why, for me, only having the pitch, if it is ready and it's properly managed, it is going to help develop football in LRR, just like the one in Jara Someone did. Now, it is during this period that you have two second division teams in LRR and one in North Bank, very close to the pitch. And they also have a female second division team coming from LRR. So you see that the pitch had played a very, very vital role in making sure that these teams are functioning. And teams are now even going to Jara Som on pre-season. If the pitch was not there, no team will go there. But because the pitch is there, teams are going there on pre-season.
Just 2 weeks ago, we understand that from the First Lady who donated an artificial turf to the Basse Sports Committee, or it's going to be laid at the Basse Mini Stadium. Well, if that facility is also ready, it means that there is going to be an expansion in terms of infrastructure. Getting it to maybe all regions of the country would be very advantageous, and I think it will help boost football development. But the responsibility, of course, is to be shouldered by the government of the Gambia through the Ministry of Youth and Sports. Just as this facility is going to be constructed in Kiang, the budget line for it, of course, is $7 million is plus. Isn't it the government's responsibility to get the sports infrastructure in shape across the country?
Yeah, building infrastructure is the responsibility of government, because if, yes, we have youth and sports, and sports is played nationwide. Who should give the youths the opportunity to play whatever sports they want to? It is the responsibility of government to make. Yes, there can be well-wishers, there can be people who are in a position to help, and they go and help, just like the First Lady did. She is in a position to help. She was in a position to acquire this artificial turf, and said that the artificial turf is there. What next with the artificial turf? Is the Minister of Youth and Sports going to take the responsibility to make sure that the artificial turf is laid in Basse? Where in Basse, I don't know. Somebody must take charge. But for me, if whatever with these facilities, there must be somebody who is responsible for these facilities. If you are responsible with the facilities, you know they have to be at a very high standard. You must keep the standard. And whoever wants to use it will come to you, book whatever arrangement you have, you make sure that the person play his part and you play your part and you move on. Now we are lucky that all the pitches around the urban area have lights. I think with the exception of Manjai, I think all of them, I'm not sure, but I know Serekunda East have, Berkama, Serekunda West, and Banjul, they all have this lighting facility, and Bakau field is also doing very well. So you'll see, if we have people who manage this, and it's their responsibility, I think that would take us to the other level. Because sometimes what happens with our facilities, you really don't like it. People can just come and do whatever they want with these facilities. You tell them, it says, it's ours.
It is ours. On that note, we are going to draw the program there. And thank you very much for your time, Ahmad Cham. Until we come your way, this is Qsports. Thank you very much for watching.